Zoom, zoom, bitches, I'm going to Bologna, and let's take a look at the decks I'm trying to build to play. First off, goal is to demonetize myself in the first 30 seconds, I'm told, which I hope I did. So going to Bologna, what decks are out there? Right now we don't know. One of the problems with rotation means that it's kind of the Wild West. Not problems. One of the solutions, the good things about rotation is that it's kind of the Wild West as far as decks go. And nobody knows kind of what the big fun deck's going to be. So it's time to build big fun things. I've got two decks that I'm looking at brewing up for Bologna right now. They're in kind of like the design phase. So I don't have any real lists to share. I just have more concepts. And they're on version like, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3. I think this one's on 2. I think this one's on 3. But the last version of this had Jafar in it, and he's rotating out. So we're almost going back to version 1 for this one. And kind of what we do with this is we build a list first. We test it against literally anything. The first kind of one is, does the list kind of work on its own and do what it wants to do if given time to do its thing? Then we'll have to start testing against other decks that we actually think we're going to start seeing, and we kind of have to wait for the standard to rotate and for there to be tournaments and deck lists out there to kind of figure out what are we possibly going to be playing against? But let's look at kind of, I guess, the ideas behind them first, and what the decks want to do before we kind of look at how to actually like build the list for it. So first of all, Zoom Zoom implies racers. So we are going to do the racers here first. Excited about this deck. This deck has existed for a little while in some way, shape, or form, especially since these two cards came out. The Sugar Rush Speedway starting line and finish line. There was clearly something there with the exert a character, move it to the next location, gain 3 lore, draw 3 cards. Awesome interaction. However, all of the steel removal that's out there pretty much invalidated this entire deck from like the first character on. I think there's like a couple characters with 3 willpower in it, but like the 2 damage from Let the Storm Rage On just killed everything. And then when you threw out those kind of rogue decks that were still holding on to grab your swords or big Tinkerbell, this deck just dies. But with the steel removal and the ruby removal going, this deck really should be able to outlast long enough to be able to do its thing. So what is the thing? First off, I'd like to talk about this beautiful man right here. Candy Royal Racer, he's awesome. He works as a great removal for this deck, and this deck is very much a challenging style deck. But the thing that it has going for it is that it can like 2-for-1 or even 3-for-1 your opponent's characters with characters that are not very big on our side. Also, one of the problems with typical challenging decks is that they're doing most of their turn doing challenging as opposed to questing, which means they might be able to keep your field nice and empty, but they're not necessarily pushing themselves towards that finishing line. And this one can with the finishing line. King Candy here is a great kind of removal piece because he sits on the field. In theory, you don't turn him sideways because you don't want to risk him. But every time you lose one of your racers, your opponent has to banish one of their characters. And he does include himself. That's kind of an important thing to note there. So there's lots of ways to lose your racers. One, you could lose your racers by swinging them into your opponent's characters. So if I were to take Vanellope here, swing her into one of my opponent's characters and have her and that other character die, I've taken out one character. And then because King Candy's sitting out there, they have to banish one of their other characters. So that's kind of 2-for-1 that I'm getting, which is real nice. Other things that we can do is that we can play the Candy Drift. It gives your any character, not even a racer, any character +5 strength, draws a card, and then you banish the character at the end of your turn. So I don't know, if we were to play it on Vanellope here, we get to draw a card. If we use Vanellope to take out something, so we killed something there, and then she gets banished at the end of turn. That's a great way to get rid of your opponent's readied characters, because King Candy triggers whether or not your opponent's stuff is exerted. And that's kind of a nice way to be able to get rid of things that your opponent is trying to save. So you can even just quest with her with it, and then when she banishes at the end of her turn, they have to banish something. And if nothing's upright, then they have to banish one of their ready characters, or nothing's sideways. Other thing that you can do with that too is you can take like your small characters, like this Vanellope here, and you can send her through the racetrack. Since she's only got 1 willpower, she dies at the end of the racetrack, which means that King Candy's out, they have to banish something. Last thing here is Taffeta. Taffeta is super sweet. Taffeta can gain you a bunch of lore. She gains you lore when she goes to a location at the start once per turn. So go here, gain 2 lore, put her through the racetrack, gain 3 lore, draw 3 cards. Even more fun. Put her here, gain 2 lore, shift her into the exact same version, but new card, new abilities. Put her through the speed track, gain 2 lore because of her, gain 3 more lore. So that is, what are we at, 7 lore that Taft has gained as that turn, and 3 cards. So it doesn't take a huge amount of activations of something like that to be able to win us the game and still be able to challenge and take out their characters with things like King Candy. So that's kind of Racers. As I said, it's a very grindy deck, lots of decisions to be made. So it's a deck that I would probably suggest if you're looking to play something like that, having a lot of play testing beforehand so you know the general gist of what the deck wants to do and how it wants to get there. Let's talk about the exact opposite end of the spectrum now, which is songs. So this magical deck has also existed in some way, shape, or form for a couple of sets now. But again, the steel removal just completely invalidates this. Unlike Racers, where it was Let the Storm Rage On that made the deck die, Zeus made this one just not be able to do anything. Most of the characters in this deck are 3 or 5 willpower, so though a lot of them survive Let the Storm Rage On, Zeus just gets rid of all of your big pieces that you're holding back to be able to do your game plan and just keeps your field empty, which is sad. But now that Zeus is gone, this one now could possibly do its own thing. So this was the idea behind the deck here, Fantastical, Magical, and Alma. Alma says whenever your characters, once per turn, whenever your characters sing songs, you can ready them. And Fantastical and Magical is a sing together, gain a lore, draw a card for each character that sings this. So if you have just a whole bunch of characters out, and they turn exert to sing Fantastical and Magical, that would be 4. Let's turn her too. That would be 5 lore, 5 cards we're gaining off of that, which feels great. And then they ready all again because of Alma to be able to do it again or do something else or quest or whatever. This deck doesn't really need to quest that much. A couple of quests, just like the Racers deck, can kind of put you over that edge. Other fun interactions that we have here are we have Monstro and anybody that can sing for 2. You can use them to sing Second Star to the Right. Second Star to the Right is draw 5 cards. So if we have 5 cards in our hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in my hand right now. Now I can, let's pretend we have these in our discard pile too. Monstro and Alma. We can sing together Circle of Life. Now, since my proxy is really good and you probably can't tell the difference between the real thing, it's not out yet. But what Circle of Life says is you can play any character you want from your discard pile. So let's bring back, if we bring back another Alma, we can kind of do everything again because we can discard a card. Let's discard another Monstro to ready Monstro, and you can sing a whole bunch of stuff in your hand. Or if you were to bring back a Monstro as opposed to an Alma, let's put those back in the discard pile. You can pretty much clear the field with them because you have 4 more cards in your hand here that you can just keep discarding to ready them and fight things. Evasive is always nice, but this deck is pretty much just filled with singers, big songs, and big characters. I've always liked the decks that are kind of like big characters that you can cheat out pretty fast. And from the math that Josh did right before I pressed record, you could get this silly stuff out by like turn 4, which is awesome. Really excited about that. All right, so where are we kind of right now? So we're at the testing phase. Obviously, we have versions like 1 and 2 of the list, and we'll just keep testing them and refining them to make sure that we have a good list that, in a vacuum, does what it wants to do and does it well. Then we're going to have to grab some decks post-rotation. So in a couple weeks when the CCQs and like other tournaments start with post-rotation decks, we're going to start grabbing those and play testing against them. I'm anticipating a lot of aggro. People are talking about a lot of aggro or princesses. So chances are we'll grab those decks first to play test against, because if we think that a lot of the room will be that, we want to make sure that the decks have a game plan for against those decks. Which deck am I going to play for Bologna? Well, Bologna is in a month and a half, and I might play either one of these right now. I love this deck, but I also might play none of them. I am not married to any of them in the type of way that I'm going to try to force it to work. I'm going to play whatever I think I'm going to do the best with, whatever I feel most confident with. And if it's one of these decks, awesome, because I'm excited about them now. But if it's not, that's cool too. I'll just switch to something else.